We're going to name her Stephanie. I don't know why, but it just feels like the right name. Anyways.
That is the right name.
Yeah, her name's definitely Stephanie.
Her name's definitely Stephanie. Welcome, everyone, to Pop Goes
with an
to
F,
Sleep.
not a PH. Sorry.
Welcome, everybody, to another fun-filled episode of Pop Goes the Zebra. I am Jeremy the Ref. He is Jesse the Ref. We're joined by Referee Katy Vella.
Vella.
My apologies.
It's okay.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Also, we're joined as always by my good friend Stanley. Jesse, I know you've never met him, but you know.
And no way in hell this season.
Piggybacking off of a prior conversation.
Oh man, we're starting 0-2.
Well, you know, when we started talking about sports, you know, and I knew you were like, it's okay, we talk about sports too. I'm like,
well,
I knew we're.
Well, I joined the Zoom call and someone's wearing a Cubs hat, so I automatically just filled with rage.
Yeah. Oh, I'm still ultra pissy right now. The Dodgers put the Giants out, so.
Are you a Giants fan?
Yeah. So I'm currently rooting for Atlanta.
I am also. Here's the crazy thing. So am I, because I'm like, if the Brewers were gonna get beat, like.
Atlanta,
I would rather they get beat by whoever wins.
Atlanta is a quietly good team. They're not flashy. They're not sexy. They're just efficient. And they go out there and they play a 9-inning ball game.
Yeah, and when I went to go see them play the Yankees just a few months ago, it was not like a blowout game. It was a solid back and forth game. It was. Yeah, and it's like Atlanta's always been a solid team. I mean, I could almost say they could be a second team of mine, but because my grandmother, I grew up around my grandmother being a Braves fan, so that was kind of like TBS was always on with the Braves game.
That's during their golden rush too. You're talking Maddox, you're talking Glavine, Chipper Jones, Fred McGriff.
Still waiting for that Brewers golden rush.
Keep waiting.
just gonna. I'm like the dog in Futurama. I just die waiting.
Oh, we're gonna make that reference.
Oh, dude, yep. I wasn't ready for that the first time I ever saw it. And I was just like, yeah, this just ruined my whole
I'm
life.
Never ready for it.
Yeah, like I've never seen the show, but I saw that scene, just that clip, and I'm like, okay, yeah, no. Any chance there was of me watching the show died, because I know at some point this is gonna like Pearl Harbor
to this day,
and I'm not gonna be ready for it.
To this day, I hold Futurama as like one of my favorite shows, but there are 3 episodes that I cannot watch, and that is one of them.
What are the other 2? Now I'm curious.
Luck of the Fryish, and then I can't remember the one.
Oh, Luck of the Fryish makes me sob.
Ugly cry. But the one where it's one of the later seasons where Fry goes to, he gets to meet his mom in the dream.
I can't remember that. The most emotional one I can remember, the 2 emotional ones I can remember from the later, like the post cancellation reboot, or the one where it's the one where he accidentally travels through time too far, and like Leela like dies waiting for him or something. Do you remember that? Like,
that's
time
like
travels a bunch. Yeah,
and
it's
the
like one
the second to last season.
Yeah, one of them, and the one where you find out Bender was born like without like a backup chip. And the only reason he wasn't terminated as like a robot baby is because Hermes like snuck him through the system. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I remember both those, but like the ones that really hit me hard were Jurassic Park, Luck of the Fryish, and I'm currently looking up. Thank God I'm sitting here at my computer at work.
Also Leela's Homeworld, where she finds out she's a mutant and that her parents have been watching and helping her the whole time.
Yeah, again, those are really, really good, but I'm talking like there are 3 episodes.
No, the ones that murder you. I get it.
Yeah, the ones that absolutely make me ugly cry. Let's see.
Welcome to the Wrestling Referee Podcast with nothing but referees, where we have yet to talk about wrestling.
That's exactly
all we
what
can
this
talk
show
about
is.
is Futurama.
We are a pro wrestling podcast, but not necessarily a podcast about pro wrestling.
Understood.
So like I said, this is the great thing, because this is something that you would do on a car trip. Is, hey, you remember that one episode? And then somebody's going, man, I can't remember berries. I remember. So it's like
the Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Yes.
I'll know exactly the name of it as soon as I see it.
I ugly cried and still ugly cry and will always ugly cry for the ending of Homeward Bound because I'm old.
Oh no!
Man.
Oh no! Why would you do this to me?
Where
Shadow comes over the hill.
He comes over that freaking hill limping, just says Peter, and the music just. Damn it!
Could have done without that.
Oh, how about the beginning of Up? The Pixar movie.
Oh God,
nope.
The first 7 minutes of a movie that immediately has you like snot pouring out. Can't. I skip that first 7 minutes and just accept.
It's like
near death. You know what happens.
It's like that episode of
Near Death Wish. That's the episode of Futurama.
Yeah.
That's the one where Fry gets to go back and talk to his mom in his dreams, and she, just not. I can't. Not going to deal with that today. Anyways, sports.
Basketball.
I don't know. I only know about baseball and wrestling. Sorry. I mean, I know tangibly about football, but not like to the point where I can hold a full discussion about it.
They snap the ball and then they try to put it into the end zone.
I mean, I know that. Like, I can watch football and understand what's going on a very casual level, you know?
I am a far more aggressive fantasy football fan than I am an actual football fan.
Does anyone, do either of you remember when WWE had that fantasy game for like a hot minute in the mid 2000s? Does anyone else remember that, or is it just me?
They had that in like every 2K game for a while. You got to be the GM.
But no, they had it on like WWE.com. They had an official like fantasy wrestling thing.
Yeah, that was good.
I played the hell out of that. I remember there was 1 week that like everyone who had Stevie Richards got like so many points because he almost won a battle royal and like got a promo and stuff, which never happened. So his odds were like ridiculous, and everyone paid out that had him at all so hard, and it was hilarious.
I remember several years ago being part of a kind of like a fantasy football thing with wrestling, and it was like you know, if your character got a promo, you know, they got X amount of points. If they got a match, if they won, like how they won, like there was a whole different like structure. So I think it was based off of that. And I remember.
Yeah, no, that's very similar to how the WWE one works. It's just the WWE one was an official like WWE like branded one. It only existed. It was around maybe like a year.
It was, yeah. It wasn't around too terribly long, which.
No.
See, nowadays it would be like a hot commodity, you know. Kinda. I feel like it would be.
I'd play it right now, despite not watching almost any WWE programming, to be honest. But I'd play it right now if it was just a game that I could play.
Yeah, I mean, same thing here. I would probably play it, even though I care nothing about the Fed product.
Yeah, you phrased it better than I could. I am so, and it's like I can't even, I can hate, but it's like they're not pandering to me. They're not going after my business, you know?
Yeah, which is, I mean, I guess like the whole argument is like WWE, yeah, it's not for everybody. It's just like horror movies are not for everybody. Like if you don't care about it, don't watch it. Like other people are into it. Let them watch it. Let them enjoy it. So
let people enjoy things, I believe is the phrase I like to use.
Well, what demographic are they in?
Yeah, I mean they're targeted towards the youth, and I guess that's it. Because like
it's weird that you say that they're targeted towards the youth, but their demographic is skewing older as time goes on. If you actually look at the raw numbers.
Huh.
Because they're not doing well attracting younger viewers that want to watch wrestling. I guess maybe if you're talking about like kids.
Yeah. I'll be honest. From what I've observed, wrestling isn't as appealing to kids now as it was when we were kids, because there's just so much other stuff available for kids to keep them both captivated and instantly gratified. It's
teenagers get really into it
now.
Yeah.
Teenagers get really into wrestling. Like they won't get into it as much as like little kids, but like 14, 15-year-olds love wrestling. That being said, they love AEW. Like that's what I've noticed. This is all observational, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're putting on, I guess it's just kind of like maybe the teens are like, they have that angsty, like, oh, we don't care about the colorful. Oh, this character's doing this. They're like, we just want to see two guys beat the shit out of each other. And
I think that's really what it is.
Yeah. I then I kind of was like, hey, why don't you check out independent wrestling?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, AEW is the correct pathway to independent wrestling because they showcase so many independent wrestlers on like Dark and Dark Elevation, and they sign so many independent wrestlers that like
I've so many friends that have appeared on Dark recently that I can't believe.
Same.
Like, I'm so happy for them. It's like, I'm jealous.
Same, like off the top of my head, I'm really good friends with the Patiri, Lena Lennox, who filmed a Dark Elevation match like a month or so back when they were in Ohio. And that's just off the top of my head. Like all of them I'm really close with, and they've just recently been on. And like there's more, you know.
Yeah, one of the guys that I worked with at Kapow a whole lot, Gustavo Aguilar, just had a match with Dustin Rhodes on
okay.
Yeah. So it was, I saw the pictures of it. I haven't actually yet to see the match. I think it hasn't aired yet, but man, I know Kaya McKenna was up there.
Yeah, I saw that. Like I said, I finally got to meet her a couple weeks back at Invictus Pro, and awesome person.
Yeah, people don't understand. She's an absolute treat to have in a locker room because she's one of those people, like, no matter how bad the situation is, she's like Dan Perch. Like, there's just nothing but positivity coming out of her. So, like, putting her and Dan Perch in the same room, it's like nobody can really be that pissed off.
Oh, yes. It was very unrelenting sunshine having her around. So that checks out.
And if you want to see more of Kaya McKenna, go back and watch the very first week of our women's wrestling series where we actually had her on the show. She was absolutely a ball to work with.
Yep. But that's kind of why we're here, is we are talking about women's wrestling this month. So I guess I'll take the lead from Jeremy on this one, since we kind of want to get on topic. When did you start reffing, Katie?
When did I start reffing? I debuted in October as a referee in front of people, not counting like reffing practice shows, which they made a lot of people do. I debuted in Chikara as a professional referee in October of 2017. I could find the exact date if I want, and I will. Keep talking, but I'm going to look this up.
Oh man,
you know which show it was.
Yeah. See, that's actually where I got to meet you, was at King of Trios 2019.
I was not at King of Trios 2019. That was the one where you got on the show because I was no longer there. We definitely met at some point in passing when you were at a show, but I was not at that King of Trios specifically.
I kept thinking that you came out to eat with us at the little dive bar that was right around the corner from the building in Reading. I was definitely not
in Reading. I think we've met somewhere. I'm trying to remember where it is. What other Chikara shows were you like at?
That was it. That was the one Chikara that I was on. And
what you were on, but were you at others?
No.
Okay.
That's the only one I ever got to go to.
Yeah, Jesse, I do not believe there is a strong chance that we have not met in person at any point so far. I am like sure it will happen.
I kept thinking that we crossed paths, and that was where it was, because I remember.
Were you at the White Eagle Hall like thing that they did in that there was a Chikara show on? I'm thinking.
No. The only Chikara show that I worked was Trios 2019. I was there for night 2, and then I worked on night 3.
Okay.
I can't remember. Did you come up to Indianapolis for the collective?
I did not.
Wow. Then how? Like, I'm trying to figure out how. Like, I feel like we've crossed paths.
I definitely do too, and this is gonna. We could think about this all night, but I think it's gonna remain a mystery for now because I feel like we did too.
Yeah.
It's October 15th, 2017.
Okay, so you have officially been a referee for it 5 years, 6 years?
Oh, I missed my anniversary. Damn it. Oh well, 4 years. 4 years.
4 years. I don't even remember mine. Mine is somewhere like November, December of 2006.
I only know because I know what month it was. I know what kind of show it was, and I can Google the exact date. It's available on Google.
Well, that's good. So what made you break into wrestling?
In general, I mean, I've just loved wrestling since I want to say I was around like 14 years old. I started watching in 2003. So I missed the Attitude Era, which means that when I watched the Attitude Era, my general reaction to a lot of the stuff that is aged poorly is just, what the fuck is this? And why did anyone ever like this? I mean, the main events were unbeatable, but I digress. But I always, when I got into wrestling, it was fairly quickly like, oh no, this is something I want to be a part of. This is something I want to do. And I was bored with life. So I went ahead and went for it. And I moved to Philly and I joined one of the best schools in the area.
Yeah. I mean, getting to sit under the learning tree of the people that you've got to sit under, I know you had to have gotten some just stellar training.
I mean, especially as far as being taught as a ref, being on shows with Bryce Remsburg and Chris Levin, you can't get much better than that as far as skill, you know?
Yeah, man, I cannot say anything more positive about Bryce and Chris. If it were not for both of those individuals, I would have not been on Chikara. And if it were not for Chris, I would not be with GCW. So I have a big soft spot for Chris.
I mean, Chris is the only reason I'm any good because he was the one that functionally taught me, you know, and not to get too deep into it because it's a lot of personal stuff, but I owe Bryce my entire career at least twice, like literally my career, you know?
Yeah, Bryce was doing a seminar the same weekend that I was up there for trios, and I decided to do the seminar, and I was like the only trained person that attended the seminar. This was all for people who were wanting to get into the business or ring announcer, stuff like that. And just the things that Bryce taught me, there were several things that I still use to this day. And it's the reason why I've, made myself, he's like, the more hats that you can wear in pro wrestling at a show, the more indispensable you are and the harder it is to get rid of you. So
I've heard him say that many a time myself.
Yep. And it was that philosophy that I decided to invest money in equipment and myself and travel. And that's what's made me, I guess, more of a commodity because, I have radio equipment that I travel with. I've got production stuff. I travel with medical stuff. So it's like, I've got all these resources that help me get booked. And it was because Bryce was like, if you're just going to show up like, hey, I'm just a referee, well, we can get anybody. But if you can have other skills, and of course with him, he would book the travel for Chikara and a bunch of other stuff.
Oh, now yeah, he was in charge of that for years and years and years.
And now he does that for AEW. So like, not
That's
only
what
is he
I've
just
heard.
yeah, he's also got an office job, and it's hearing that kind of that's like the best kind of teaching you can get. And I'm so jealous that you got to sit under Bryce's tree a lot longer than I did, because a lot of my reffing style comes from Bryce. Like he was one of my biggest influences as a referee.
I stole all my mannerisms from Bryce. You can watch it and it's in it. You can tell.
Yeah, I try to tone back a lot of it now because, you don't want to be as overly over the top. And, I try to not take away from matches, but there's times where I'll get so into what's going on that I forget it. And then I go over the top.
It also depends where you're working. I mean, it also depends on what promotion you're working and what that specific promotion wants.
Yeah. But what's like if I was to go up to Warrior, I would be a lot more toned back than I would be at New South or GCW. Or if I worked a very old school style show. So I toned everything back. I had to be like as like NWA referee as possible. Not Tommy Young, but like.
Are any of us Tommy Young?
No. Some of us will try, but some of us will not ever be as good as Tommy Young.
Most of us won't. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it depends on you, where you're working. Like when I work wrestlers lab, it's okay to be a little bit more reactive because they have a very kind of loud style, so to speak. But if I was to work somewhere else, I would be a little bit more toned back, you know.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to think of another. See, I'm not usually the one that takes the lead on these things. Jeremy's always got the questions. I'm just
Jeremy's mad that I'm a Brewers fan.
He's
More
steaming.
than words can describe. I'm kidding. No, I mean, you guys got a thing going. I'm just trying not to be in the way.
Nah, you're good.
Oh yeah, so he's being a real referee. He's literally staying out of the way until he's needed.
The art of invisibility.
Sorry, I just thought of that awful tweet from the other day that got dragged into oblivion about Bryce. Did anyone see that?
Oh no, I threw my 2 cents on it.
I did too, yeah.
It's because like people don't understand, like, yeah, referees are supposed to be out of the shot. We're supposed to, not be in certain images, but sometimes it happens and it works out because the shot, it was like one of the coolest shots where you've got the 2 wrestlers and then Bryce it's like almost like a pyramid. And it was like,
it was an awesome shot. Like he did his own argument a disservice by using that shot. It's like, if you had an argument to begin with, which you didn't, you lost it completely by using that kick-ass picture.
Yeah. And then I remember seeing, I think it was Nick Menino, who works wrestling from Hollywood and all that stuff. He teaches his referees in those type of standoff stuff. The pyramid helps because it draws your eye to the referee, then it draws your eye to the participants. And he said something, it's like a Renaissance painting.
See, like, I didn't know that.
Everything has like its own intricate part, and like the referee is there. Like if it was just 2 guys, that's one thing. But it was something about like the referee being in the middle really accentuates the situation. I have to go back and find the tweet, but it was really well thought out.
See, I didn't know that about the pyramid. I learned something today. And then now they have me helping out people that join my school learn how to ref. That's frightening.
Yeah, I get asked. I don't like it because I've not been anywhere, so I'm under the philosophy that because I've not been under contract and made money with wrestling, I have no business telling anybody how to do anything. But
I don't mind. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was like, New South has kind of put a trainee under me, and what I've taught him, he's picked it up pretty quick. I don't feel comfortable teaching people.
I don't mind. I feel comfortable teaching people the basics, but like about reffing, like just the very basic stuff and like helping them to get to a point where they can ref matches. But then like past that, like I shouldn't be teaching any advanced reffing. Like, and thankfully the ref I taught, his name is Nick Pierce. He's an incredible ref. Highly recommend him to anyone. He's sexy ref on Twitter. You can't miss him. Nick Pierce, he's awesome. Thankfully, I only had to teach him the basics because as soon as he learned that, he turned into a prodigy and is now better than me. Good shit. Nick's only been reffing since like January, and he's already done so much.
Yeah, Scotty's a good kid. He's a little bit older than me, just now breaking into wrestling, but he had actually wanted to be a referee for a long time and had been studying how to do it. So when I threw him in some practice matches, he kind of got it. He needed to be coached on like hard cam and a few other things, but he had the basics of like knowing when to count, when not to count, his body placement. It was really refreshing. Like, oh, this guy's never done this before, and I don't have to do a whole lot.
Yeah, that's how Nick was. Like, you can see Nick did season 2 of Alchemy with me for Wrestlers Lab. So he's the other rep on that. Yeah. And for him to get a good booking like that so early, I mean, proves like his work is speaking for itself.
Yeah. And like I said, we're very fortunate in today's day and age with social media and Twitter and YouTube, where clips of things can be more easily accessible. So like you can get feedback a lot quicker and learn a lot more, rather than just like, hey, can you watch my match and tell me if I suck? Now you can actually go back and look at the stuff. You can go back and look at other referees. Like it's so much easier nowadays to teach people.
Yeah, at our school, whenever we do like student matches, T2T in Brooklyn, great school, can't recommend it enough. We do student matches. Everything's recorded and like put on our private YouTube page so we can watch it back. It's nobody has any excuse not to be watching their own matches. And
I think we do something like that with Crux in New South. I think we have a private, like there's private stuff and it's uploaded so everybody can go back and watch it with one of the coaches and get feedback and all that stuff. So it's such a great resource to use now.
Yeah, and now me and Nick are training another girl named Crystal who showed up, and she showed up specifically to ref, which is refreshing to me that like young women are coming to school now. Like she saw Aubrey and wants to ref like her, and that warms my cold, dead, bitter heart, that we have this very young woman showing up to our school. Like, I want to ref. I have seen women's refs as like a young human. And I'm just happy that she had that available to her, that we're getting to that point. I hope that made sense.
Oh, no, that makes a whole lot of sense, because that's a really cool thing. It's like now you have a female referee in such a prominent spotlight who was reffing a heavyweight championship.
An amazing female referee.
She did it on pay-per-view. Like that's a big positive thing for young girls who want to get in pro wrestling, because like I said, you look at where wrestling was maybe just even 10 years ago. We didn't have a female referee in WWE. We didn't have, you didn't have a female official in the NFL. You didn't have a female official in the NHL or AHL. So like, nope. There's this big change, and it's the positivity of having influential females in prominent roles. It's only going to do good. It's going to make things a lot better, especially for, like I said, kids growing up. Little girl wants to get in pro wrestling, but she doesn't want to be a wrestler. Well, hey, I can be a referee. Look, there's Aubrey on TV. There's Jessie Carr on SmackDown. So it's
Aja Smith on NXT, and she's on main shows sometimes now, correct?
Yeah, I think so. I think I've seen clips of her on a main show. She's I remember I got to work with her once when she was still a wrestler.
Yeah,
she was an absolute blast.
Oh yeah, I definitely met her at the King of Trios that I was at in 2018, and she was great. And once again, this was while she was still a wrestler.
Yeah, and like I said, it's just so it's so cool. Like, I get to work with a lot of really cool female referees on the independents. Like I said, I got to work with Gina at GCW.
Well, Gina is non-binary though, so let's just be fair. I know what you mean, female presenting referees. I get it.
Yeah, I think she goes with she and they periodically.
Yes.
I think so. So I think it's but with us at New South, we had Kim Sykes, who was a very young referee. I claim her as my niece. She looks a lot like me. So, and she's a fantastic referee. Like I said, I've got to work with a lot of amazing female referees, and
Becky Phillips is awesome too. Becky's awesome.
I did a seminar with Becky and got to work with her at a show that I will not talk about. That was in Alabama.
Okay.
So
one of those, the thing we're not going to mention.
Yeah.
We've all had those bookings.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just such a positive thing to see, and like I said, they're not just being featured. Oh, we're just going to have them do the women's match. No, you've got the female referees out there working, like Aubrey doing Chris Jericho's matches. Like Jericho's like, no, Aubrey's my ref. Like that's something. That's something special. That's something to hold on to. And I guess that's good for younger people to like, oh man, if she can do that, I want to get to that goal. So that's the way I look at it. Not sure Jeremy's thoughts on it.
I have no
Jeremy,
thoughts. Those hurt.
feel free to chime in whenever.
Yeah, because while we're doing this, I still have a few things to do here with work. So it's like trying to talk and type at the same time is kind of hard. Like I can't sing and play guitar, so I can't talk and type at the same time. I'll start crossing everything up.
Yeah, and like another thing worth noting is that last Impact Knockouts Knockdown show, all women refs.
And it was taped. It was taped in Nashville, and I didn't know about any of them being in town, or else I would have gone by to say hi to a bunch of them that I never get to see. So I was kind of bummed about that, but it was close taping. So
yeah, and I mean that's fair. Still, it's still kind of a gamble letting in big crowds.
Yeah, I think Impact was only letting in like 200 people at that, and like you had to have a negative test or you had to have your vaccination card. They still required masks, so it was like Impact was still, when I went up there to visit, they were still very, very cautious about certain people being there, and they were not taking any chances, which was really, really smart. And I think AEW is kind of the same way. Like they're very picky as to who they're letting come on and be a part of Dark, and who's allowed to be there and who's not. So, we're still in a pandemic, so we still have to take a lot of precautions, and it's really good to see.
You can still get COVID while vaccinated. I would know because I did.
I'm still trying to avoid that.
I mean, it sucked, but I didn't get very sick, which is the vaccine working.
Yeah, but you still have it in you, so you gotta.
Yep. I quarantined fully. It's 8:52.
Oh no, I'm sitting here. I'm looking. So I'm starting my pass down information. I'm just typing out all the officers that are supposed to be on tonight, the times they're supposed to come in. Then at the end of my shift, I go back and edit. This officer was on time or this officer was late. So I'm just going ahead and get my format for the night. So that's why I was like, I'm going between 2 or 3 things, trying to have the conversation. Like I said, this is the fun part of doing a podcast, but then the only time I'm really available is the early part of my shift at work before I actually go out. Once I'm in a patrol car, I'm driving for 10 hours. I don't get to take a break. So, what's an upcoming show that you're really excited to be working on?
Ooh, let me think. I know I'm going to be on Wrestlers Lab is doing their first live show since the pandemic. I believe that's January 15th. My the promotion that's associated with my school too, IWW, we filmed a show Saturday I cannot give you an exact date because we just filmed it, but it will be on IWTV probably within the next few weeks. It's still a new thing, so it's still kind of in its formative stages, but it's very much it's like underground New York style, that
just sounds awesome.
Yeah, well, the first show that we did, which was called Good Vibes and Good Dives, is on IWTV already, and you can watch, and it showcases a lot of our students who are amazing. I love everyone in that school, and it also has names on it as well. The main event of that first show was Anthony Green versus Robert Martyr, which was incredible. Yeah, now you want to watch it, right?
Yeah, anything with Robert Martyr, man. I've got to work with him a few times.
Robert Martyr is amazing. He is the oldest 20-year-old I know.
No kidding. He
was born
really
geriatric.
He is the grizzled young vet. He is
absolutely the grizzled young vet.
I think because we had him at Crux, and I think I remember he and I had this discussion. He's like, "Oh man, I'm so tired. I'm so old." I'm like, "How old are you?" And he told me. I'm like, "No,
You're how old now?" But yeah, IWW Good Vibes and Good Dives is already on IWTV, and we just filmed another one that should be up soon-ish. Just filmed it, so I don't think it's been submitted or anything yet, so it wouldn't have a date yet.
Speaking of IWTV, I think as we're recording this in 5 minutes, New South's episode goes live, so I'm expecting, or it may be live now. My Twitter may be blowing up because when New South goes live, the people tag me in it, and it's all the hashtag Action Clash, all that stuff. So
I love those show day follows, those show day boosts. Those are the best.
Yeah, especially if it's like I know what episode's coming up and I know what I did or what I was involved with. I'm like, I'm waiting for that one scene to come up. Oh no, why did he do that? Or why did that happen? I've seen a few tweets come through as we've been talking, and it's just like, oh great. I'll log into Twitter and see what's going on.
RIP your notifications, yes.
RIP notifications. So what are some major goals for you in the upcoming 2022?
I mean, to be honest, I'm trying to actually do some wrestling, which I am very close to doing, which is why I'm happy a girl showed up at my school that wants to ref. Someone's got to ref while I'm not, you know?
Oh yeah. Like you can't pull a Mike Posey and referee, wrestle, and commentate your own match.
No. Did he do that? When did he do that?
Multiple times. I've seen him do it for NWA Main Event. I know he did it for NWA Wildside. He would basically ring announce himself. He would commentate while wrestling, and then he would count his own pinfalls.
That's honestly incredible. Like as a gimmick thing. But yeah, I mean, so I became a ref kind of out of necessity. Like I wasn't getting anywhere as a wrestler in the place or spot I was in. That's the short version. And they needed refs. They absolutely needed refs. And I knew I was doing okay as a ref on like the student shows and whatnot. So I kind of pushed for that and went that avenue. And I don't regret it. I love reffing. I've loved reffing as long as I've done it. But there's like, I haven't gotten wrestling out of my system, so to speak. I never got to have the wrestling run I wanted. So right now I'm honestly trying to make that happen in whatever form it's going to take. I mean, I'm obviously still trying to take as many ref bookings as possible too, because I know whatever level, whatever happens, if I'm going to succeed on a major level, it's going to be as a ref. And I've accepted that. Yeah. And that's fine.
Yeah. Jeremy and I both have a similar experience where we were tossed a shirt and said, "Hey, we need a referee. Please don't suck." And that's kind of how we got our start as referees. Like my first choice was to be a wrestler, and at the time I was 15 years old and too small, and you know I was told to be a referee, and it turns out like I kind of like that a lot more because I didn't have to put my body through as much. As I say that with like 4 major surgeries as a referee.
My back hurts.
Like, yeah, no, I totally get it because like people don't understand like just training to be a wrestler. Like you don't immediately learn how to fall properly without hurting yourself.
Some people do.
Some people do, but you will inherently get hurt in training. Just because it's like you're learning how to do something. It's like learning how to ride a bike. You're gonna eat shit like multiple times before you're able to go like doing a downhill jam.
My very first night ever at training, I show up and they've got the students in the ring and they're all warmed up and they start practicing their bumps and they decide that they're gonna do German suplexes. And 15 minutes later, the ambulance was there because dude dislocated his elbow.
This was your first day.
Yeah, this is my first day watching this, you know. But I vividly remember him like, and we never saw him again. Like he was just a little ahead of me. He'd shown up, and of course, you know, instead of he did the elbow thing and
oh no, that's why they tell you not to do the elbow thing.
And he did the elbow thing. And
that's just
that's why
never did hear like we never heard from him again, never saw him. I have no clue what happened to this guy. His name was
maybe he's alive.
Maybe. Who knows?
Maybe not. Maybe he died in the ambulance.
Although
Ever think about that?
Like my luck, it'd be something like I've seen him like every week since that has happened and didn't recognize it was him. And it's like I've been talking to this guy the whole time, not realizing that it's him.
I have a similar experience as a ref, and I think it's a shared experience amongst a lot of us where I literally found out I was reffing on an actual airing show about 30 minutes before the show started.
Yeah, that's
checks out. Yeah.
Story checks out.
Hmm?
No, I had a Simpsons reference. Like the guy, he disappeared like, I have to go. My planet needs me.
And he did, in fact, die on the way to his planet.
Poochie the dog.
I hate to say that was the first thing that went through my head. I have to go.
My planet needs me.
My planet needs me.
Now that's that in my head, every time a student disappears and you never hear from them again at any wrestling school, they had to go. Their planet needs them.
Planet needed.
Yes.
That's pretty much, that's where I'm gonna start going with it. I figured you would pot for the Simpsons reference.
I always do.
I know.
I'm nothing but I can communicate entirely in Simpsons reference.
And what's funny, my roommate can do the same thing because like there's 3 shows he'll always have on in the background. Like he'll be playing a game or doing something else, and it's either the Andy Griffith Show, Cheers, or Simpsons. So there's been times where I've been home and I could hear an episode and I'll hear the first little bit of the dialogue. I'm like, I know what episode it is. I'm going to go in there and watch it. In Rob we trust.
It's the one with Bret Hart.
Yep.
This place has old man stink.
That was this weekend. Never mind. Hold on. Wrong episode.
Oh, see, you got to be around the excellence of execution.
Best there is, best there was, best there might ever be. Who knows? Something like that.
Yeah.
That's a thing. It happened.
I like Owen more. This is my hot take.
Oh,
that's as spicy as I'm getting.
That's not a hot take. It's not a hot take if it's backed up with honesty and fact.
This is
greatest wrestler.
Owen had better character. Owen had better character, and I'm into character,
Yeah, well, Owen, I will always say Owen was the better heart.
Oh, me too.
100%. Like I like Bret. Don't get me wrong. Bret was great.
Bret's awesome.
Bret was great with psychology and just being a ring general. But for somebody who just oozed charisma and really should have gotten a better anything was Owen Hart. And of course,
he should be alive is what it is.
Yeah. Jeremy and I had a discussion a couple weeks ago on one of the podcasts where we were kind of like, it was the what if, like hypothetically, if Owen was still around, the matches that we could have had in like 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, thinking about when like Kurt Angle, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, Benoit, all those guys could have had matches with Owen. And what the wrestling landscape could have looked like with Owen Hart still around. And
he'd have been champ at some point.
I would hope so. I would honestly hope,
unless he got out for some reason.
Yeah, that was kind of my argument. Is we just don't know exactly when his end point was going to be. I'd heard rumor that he was already kind of gearing down anyway.
Yeah, but lots of people say that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm retiring next week, brother. 3 years later, they're still here.
Yep.
I know a few people that have done that many times. I've done it. God, I've done it twice.
I've moved the line a couple of times. I'm man enough to admit it.
I'll quit when I'm dead.
Well, everybody keeps asking me like, hey, what's your plans? I'm like, retirement. Like, I want to retire from reffing real soon, but I still have things that I want to do. So I don't want to completely cut bait just yet, but it's like my body's telling me to.
Yeah, I mean, my back hurts, but like it's only hurt for a couple weeks and it's slowly getting better. So I think I'll be all right.
Massage therapy and chiropractic. Those are the 2 things that saved my life.
I got to see if chiropractic is covered in my healthcare. That's a good idea. I'm not sure if it is.
I'm telling you right now, just like a couple really good adjustments. it does wonders, especially, you know, if you're on the road or you're in the ring a whole lot. It helps just to get your hips and your shoulders back in place. It makes you feel like a new person. The massage therapy for me, I'll walk in like all hunched over, all achy, and then I'll walk out like all loosey goosey, and yeah, feels great.
Man, I gotta see if I can get that on insurance.
Oh
yeah, it's expensive, but maybe it's covered. I haven't checked.
Yeah, definitely something you should. Yeah, healthcare is great, especially if it covers stuff.
Yeah, especially if it doesn't suck.
I'm at that point. Like, everybody here has seen Star Wars, correct? They've seen the whole thing.
You know, Star Wars. I've seen Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm at that point in my career where I'm episode 2 Yoda, where I will hobble into the scene, and I'll just throw the cane away and just fucking do it and handle business, no problem. Then I'll pick the cane back up, feel every freaking bit of it, and hobble right back to the car. That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
So you're on the verge of death, is what you're saying?
Nah, Yoda still had
because
a good
he died.
30 years left in him.
Oh, episode 2,
I think not Empire Strikes Back.
2. Okay, the prequels. Got it. Got it. The prequels. I got confused.
Yoda, where he comes in and he speedballs around the entire screen for like 5 minutes, and you know he's done, and he's back to being tired, old, and withered.
That's I feel like that most days. It's like I'll spend 20 minutes in the locker room sitting there staring at my gear bag, like I have to get dressed, and then I'll slowly old man get ready, and then once the show goes.
See, I have that relationship with my car on a drive. Like it's talking myself into and out of the car. That's the hard part. It's not the being there, it's getting there. That's the rough part.
Yeah. There have been times where I've sat at home knowing that I have a long drive, and I'll look at my stuff in my room. I'm like, I'm still in bed. Do I really want to go to the show tonight?
I've only had that happen a couple times. I feel like if I get to a point with the promotion where it's like I actively don't want to be there, then maybe I should stop taking those bookings.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. But one thing that does help, and we're gonna go ahead and start wrapping this up. When you travel, what are some of the necessities that you really want to have in the car? Like, what kind of music do you listen to? What's like the snackage, your snackage and drink situation?
I'm very, very, very flexible with music. I will usually leave that to whoever's like driving and in the front seat, which is almost never me because I don't drive and I'm small. So it makes more sense for me to take one of the back seats and like be a good sport, you know? But as far as like snacks, oh my God, I usually just live off a lot of the time traveling from where I'm at, you just drive through like Jersey and PA. So I just live off Wawa and Sheetz. But I don't mind it because I love both of those places. I'm slightly more partial to Wawa just because I spent so much time in Philly and it's Wawa country, but I house Sheetz too. Like I love Sheetz.
You know, I had both on the trip up to Reading, and I was not impressed with either one of them.
Yeah, I mean, some of it is some of it's regional, like, and also Wawa used. I'm going to be fair here. Wawa used to be better. They've gone a bit downhill, but it's a convenience and familiarity. You can pretty much get any kind of sandwich there. They have a lot of prepackaged stuff that's really good. Same with Sheetz. Sheetz' vibe is just different, is all it is.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, I got turned on to Buc-ee's.
I have no idea what that is, honestly.
Yeah, so apparently it's a chain that's in Texas, but they're starting to branch out over the South, and they do like it's apparently like a religious experience to go in and like find the beaver nuggets, and they have like They're making fresh barbecue on site. They've got really great sodas on tap.
I want this in my life.
The closest one to me right now is 3.5 hours away. So it's like a very rare occasion that I get Buc-ee's, but now it's
I'm in New York, so it's further from me.
We'll have to get you down this way at some point.
I would love to come down that way. It's just, I would need a reason, you know?
Oh yeah. I'll hop in a carload of people coming down to New South. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, if I can ever find one, I will.
I'll keep you in the loop. Jeremy, any thoughts on the gas station thing?
I'm not really picky. I just, as long as the fountain works, as long as they got energy drinks, and as long as they've got something sugary for me on the ride home, because that late at night, I'm not doing full course greasy meals, stuff like that. I'm just going to get something that'll tide me over until tomorrow when I can really eat, you know, because I'm kind of weird about when and what, or at least I have been in the past before the lockdown. Yeah, I don't really have a preference. I know up here by me it's Speedway and it's Casey's, and then there's everything else. But
oh man, Speedway, that's I'm from Milwaukee, so I know Speedway well.
Oh yeah,
that's a blast from the past.
I love their rewards program. That thing can change your life, if you will. But Katie, where can we find you on social media? Where can we follow you?
My main avenue of social media is Twitter. You can follow me at Ref Katy. That's REFKATY. That is the main place I ask people to follow me on.
Gotcha. Jesse.
Yes.
I think it's that time. Any words of wisdom?
Oh, yeah. There's times where I wish some of our officers would listen to our little talk here. It's not the first half of it, but it's the last half of it that I have issues with. But as we are in the middle of the week, it is most important that you do not add to our population because we don't need it. But please do not subtract from the population because there are some people we do need. And please, for the love of Christ, do not be the reason why I have to give a fucking safety briefing on Monday again.
And just to piggyback off of what the commander said, this is the crew of Pop Goes the Zebra and Ref Katy wishing everybody on Earth a good night, and we will see you down the road. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.